why would the village waive that? We don't really have the authority. It's an easy fix for the association board to maybe make it simple for them, but those who purchase property and like those bylaws the way they are have now had the opportunity swooped away from them to vote to change or keep it the same. So, I am coming back with the answer of I'm sticking to my guns, and this letter was addressed to the mayor and the board, and that's why I'm sharing it with you, but I think our answer still is no, we are not going to temporarily waive anything. If you want to change, or you feel you have enough residents that want to change, you need to spend the time and energy and money, if it takes money, to do your majority vote.
And we had Jim send us an opinion.
Yeah,
and he concurred. He said, if I understood it right, that should we decide to do this, that we could be open to legal action by the residents who doesn't think that we should have had the right to take their vote away. So we do have a legal.
The association board can say, don't blame us, blame the village, and they could certainly blame us.
But I think we have to abide by the legal recommendation of our attorney.
Well, I think we have to abide by their.
Well, it's also, I have owned a townhome myself, and you know, and you know what? We were sent a vote. I also went back and forth with the association board. I said, you can even, if this is more time consuming and again more money legal-wise, but your attorney can draft the vote proxy to say, if the resident doesn't respond at all by a certain date, then they have, you know, voided their vote. There's ways to handle those things. So I just wanted to share the communication with the board because the letter was addressed to all of us, hearing your opinion, but I will be drafting a letter with Jim Rock saying that we still feel it is their obligation to take care of this among their members.
So is this granted?
That's a separate issue. That's the following the procedure that we've, Gary's asking about under the omnibus, we approved a hardship waiver. That's the current process where they had the unit on the market for 6 months. You know, they've gone through their board and then it came to us. They want to bypass that. The board, the association board wants the right to approve the hardship rentals themselves and not require that being on the market for 6 months. Also, if you notice, the item that we gave is one of the units that's owned by one of the association board members, because they own 2 units. But they did follow the current procedure. Yeah. Any other comments on that? Other than I will have the letter drafted and everyone will be copying on that.
Do we need to vote on it?
No. Okay, next item up is video gaming, continued discussion. In your packets, I provided a list of a lot of municipalities in our area.
Do we have to do this first?
That was under the omnibus.
Oh, sorry.
You did.
Okay.
Okay, I enclosed a list of the municipalities that have either banned video gaming or have allowed it, and a few just fall back on the state statute. And then I also included some frequently asked questions about video gaming and how it works with the state for whatever that's worth. Lake Zurich recently banned, that happened recently since our last handout. Antioch did vote to allow it. As I mentioned before, Gurney is banned it. Wadsworth's banned, Lake Forest is banned, Vernon Hills is banned. Round Lake Heights falls back on the state code still at this time. Wakanda does not have a ban yet, but they're following the state code. And there's many more. I'm just trying to mention what's, Round Lake Park did approve an ordinance also authorizing a ban. My only comment before I move up to the trustees' comments is, Ted, our former mayor, made a comment, which I agree with, about lost money. And I stated at the last board meeting the formula of the municipalities get a small portion anyway, but to me it's irrelevant what we would get. With me, there's something about using money from gambling to fund municipal projects that I just, doesn't sit right with me. So, with that, we'll start at the other end of the table. John, any comments?
No, I just, we have casinos for a reason, and that's where it should be kept, and if they want to take down this planes, let them go to it, because it's fine. We're too small of a village to have a business, granted, do we want the business in the town? Of course we do. We want to have a restaurant that wants to have, but there's also something to be said for not allowing, I don't want to say the right kind, because it sounds kind of elitist, and it's not. It's just you don't want to have a certain element frequenting your village, and we have a very nice quiet village right now, and I would hate for that to change by having a big old gaming restaurant or bar.
There's plenty of other places that
Plenty of other places to go.
Okay, Wally, what about you?
I'm on the same line. I remember when I was a kid, there was a restaurant, and they had some video games in the back room. Okay, and you had to go through this back room to a washroom. Okay, and all of a sudden, what do you hear? Oh, I lost. Oh, this. Oh, that. What am I going to do? And everything else. The hardships that it puts on people because of the lawsuit, and you want this in your restaurant or whatever. That's basically what we're going to have. We have a restaurant, and we have the gun club. That's where it would be going.
Well, it's where it could go. We don't know that they want. Those are the places that exist today that they could go.
They could go.
Yeah.
And that's what. Yeah. So, if you're there with your family, also somebody's losing, and it comes up with, how do you do that? How do you approach it? You tell your kids, well, he's a sore loser. No, he's using his money for, he thinks it's enjoyment, but you know what? It's usually nobody gains at gambling. I haven't yet, and so I would say, yeah, we should definitely ban it.
Georgianne?
Ditto, and Ted made a really good point that I hadn't thought of, that if we take in the money, that it's from people's losses, and that kind of makes me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then looking at the list, Round Lake has approved it, Wakanda's approved it, or no, they're not sure yet, but Waukegan's approved it, so they don't even have to go to Wisconsin or Des Plaines. If they want to do this, they can just go to our neighbors, but we don't have to make it.
Well, I think they're still trying to put the casino in over at North Chicago, Waukegan here.
But
and they can go there.
Yes, I agree. I think it's not appropriate for us.
Kevin Derrick.
Well, first of all, I have to say thank you for allowing me to show a couple minutes late to family commitments. I got stuck chauffeuring, so that all happens. I'm not particularly thrilled about the video gaming aspect here in our community, only because just the sheer amount of return that we get from it is, it's going to cost us, half of that just for Kelly's services or the accounting staff to, 5% of what the machine makes. That's a really thin margin to start with. And number two, once again, if you really want to gamble, why don't you go to a casino and do it right instead of hanging out in some back room in some bar or restaurant? Not that we have establishments like that, but mean, that's along my lines. I mean, I wouldn't want my kids hanging out someplace where, you know, they've got that kind of stuff going on, so that's my thoughts on it.
Thank you. Gary?
Well, I don't think it's a good idea just because we really don't have any control over it at all. Really, it's basically run by the state. They're going to tell us what we can do and what we can't, so
You know how good they've.
I just assume not have anything to do with that right now, so I vote against it.
All right, then what I will do is there is a almost ready to go ordinance that Ansel Link has that will be personalized for the village of Hainesville, and that will be at our next board meeting for us to adopt an ordinance banning video gaming from the village of Hainesville.
So no more Luckin' Lattes at Starbucks.
Okay, how about a motion for adjournment?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Stay.
I'll stay.
Stay late.
I'm going to detention, I'm sorry.